Bienvenue. Welcome once again to Modern Sales Madness. We
Modern
discuss
sales madness.
that's the way. But the whole point about what we do is to try and help you give you the tools so you can make differences in your sales life right now, immediate stuff.
Straight
And,
away.
and today is no different. It's how quick should you follow up? How quick should you follow up, David?
Quick, like quicker than you think.
See, I've always thought that if you go too quickly, then you're making them think that you're desperate, and desperation smells real bad.
Well, I mean, okay, so desperate is definitely one word. However, in the green room just before we came on live, you used the word eager, too eager.
Well, eager and desperate are often strange bedfellows. You can be eager because you're passionate about what you do, and that's fine. But the trouble is, perception is 8/10 of the truth. It's very difficult for a person at the other side to tell the difference between desperate and eager.
So if you are desperate, you're telling me that you've got to pretend to not be desperate. Is that right?
Not pretend to not be desperate, no, but to almost hold back a little bit before you throw everything in there.
In order to not look desperate.
No, to not look desperate. I was answering your question, David.
Okay, so I think there is some nuance here because actually I think it's a good thing to show you're eager, and I do agree that if you feel desperate and you show it, then that might be to a disadvantage. It shows a weakness, right? And none of us really want to show weakness, although some people do advocate for showing vulnerability, don't they?
Yeah, but there's a difference between. Look, I'm gonna do what I used to call a reductio absurdum.
By the way, I'll give an answer. I'll give us a clear-cut answer. I just want to sort of unwrap this sort of eagerness, desperation.
Yeah, I'll give you a reductio absurdum, which is where I take it to a logical extreme, which is effectively where you go to your client, you have your meeting with them, they say, yeah, I think we might be able to, but I just need to check a couple of things. And you turn around and say, well, could you close tomorrow?
Okay.
Now, the other end of it is we're really keen to do this work for you because we know the great results we can get you. So we're like really passionate about what we do. So can we get going soon? Now, those are two opposite ends of the same thing. But the trouble is, as I said, perception is 8/10 of the truth. So they both look very similar, even though one is quite honestly intentioned and is a good thing, i.e. being passionate and wanting to give you those great effects. And the other side looks like, if I don't get this, do you remember in The Simpsons, there's always this character who sells the cars on the car lot. And he always, I'll get this one this time. I'll do it right, I promise.
Yeah,
I got to do this for my kids and yeah. So
the original David Brent.
Yeah, in a way. But the point about it being is, even though you may be really keen and eager to get going, you've still got to come across in a measured manner that it doesn't look like, if I don't get this, I'll die.
I get it. I hear it. And one of the reasons why I wanted to sort of delve into that bit just a little was because so much of the timing of your follow-up is dependent, mistakenly dependent on your own feelings. Yeah, whether you feel it's right, whether you feel it's too quick, whether you feel it's too slow, and none of that matters at all. Yeah, the short answer to how quick to follow up is straight away or as near as damn it. Yeah, to be technical, straight away or as near as damn it. Okay, and I'm going to take us back to what I often take us back to, which is the sales process. Okay, so that is a process that follows a certain number of steps from the moment that you get an inquiry or the moment that you are qualifying a lead into a qualified sales opportunity, all of that. So at the first stage, at the beginning of that, when you get an inquiry, you follow up immediately. Yeah. If you are the first person to reply back to that person's that inquirer, then you straight away have an advantage. Yeah. So there we really are talking about the immediacy. If this is a time perhaps for you to use automation so you can get back to them straight away. Yeah. I get inquiries on my website. I manually reply to each one, but I reply to them as soon as I see them. Yeah, it pops up on my phone. It responds straight away. I have an events business. I get an inquiry about my events business. As soon as that message comes through, I reply back. Yeah, with a call to action and an answer to their question. So that is at the outset. I think where a lot of people get, fret are at the latter stages or the subsequent stages in the sales cycle. And this is important. So, let's say you have qualified that opportunity. It's a qualified opportunity. So you are ready now to send a quote, okay, or to explore the opportunity to uncover their needs and their problems, okay? At that point, I would also advocate for following up straight away or as near as damn it. Yeah, don't worry about being too keen or too eager looking or seeming desperate. What you're trying to do here is to uncover what value there is in your potential relationship with them. Yeah, if they're to go ahead and when they were looking to go ahead and what they're in it for money wise and roughly what they're talking about, then straight away we need to be finding out what problems they're looking to solve and how they're looking to solve them. Yeah, so that we can arrive at something that we could close.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my only issue is to appear to be totally in control, and often responding rapidly feels like you're not in control.
Does it? Why?
Because it's so quick. I always wait until the next day, usually because the meetings are in the afternoon. So, I then write it up and I send it to them the morning of the next day.
Okay. I mean, clearly there are some variations here depending on what you are selling. Yeah. But if you are selling services that you sell every day, yeah, that are not highly differentiated from each other, then I would sort of get that straight down. Again, I sort of return to the events business, which is a simpler business for me, but it's a good example. I DJ for private events, big fat private parties, and I do all the event planning and that kind of stuff. So I get an inquiry or a referral, or I meet somebody. They typically ask me about availability on a particular date. And often they ask me about my price. So I tell them the answer to those two things straight away. And I look for my sales meeting. In those cases, I want to meet them face to face. Yeah. But whatever your next stage would be. But for me, it's meeting them face to face. And I want to try and get that as soon as I can. So whenever I have availability. Yeah. Usually I try and have those on a Monday or a Wednesday evening, just because it fits in with other parts of my life. So, if somebody wanted to see me this evening, well, I've already got one this evening, but I'll try and get them in for next Monday or next Wednesday. Okay, I go and see them. I have my sales meeting. I do as much as I possibly can for that sales conversation during that meeting. So I'm walking out with a potential opportunity to close. And then sometimes, if I can, in the car before I head off, and certainly when I get back to the office or back home, I am writing up my little notes about the meeting, yeah, as my intro paragraph to my follow-up, together with all my bump and booking details and terms and conditions, all of that kind of stuff, and social proofing. And I send that straight away, yeah, preferably the same day. So whilst we've still got the excitement from the client that we've been talking about their problems, we've been talking about their solutions, we've been talking about how in an ideal world, if they were to have those solutions, their life would improve and they'd have all these amazing things. Yeah. We've done perhaps a trial close. If I was able to provide all of that and demonstrate that that is something that I have, which, by the way, I can do, would that be enough value for you to become a client? Yeah. And what do we need to do next in order for that to happen? Okay, well, you need to send me a quote. Fine. Okay, I'm going to do that straight away. I want to see some social proofing. Okay, I'll do that straight away. I've got reviews and stuff. Yeah, there might be some things that you can't do straight away, but those things that I can, I'm going to do straight away. Yeah, maybe they're going to ask for a site visit or some other kind of stuff that, can't happen the same night or the next day. Yeah, but I want to try and tie down and close on everything that I've got straight away. Once you have then completed all of those tasks, the plan, we call it in the sales process. So that leads up to the close. Once you've done all of those things and you've sent them the quote, they've got everything that they need. Yeah. Then at that point, I'm looking for a close, again, straight away or as near as damn it. I know that makes people feel uncomfortable. I know it can give the impression that you're desperate. However, if you have followed each one of those steps, then it is the natural course of things to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. What I used to do, and I still do sometimes, and I certainly coach my clients to do when they're starting off on this, is to set the expectation early on. And I know that you and I have discussed this before, and I know that you do this, which is that when I'm booking that meeting, I'm going to frame that meeting. I'm going to let me pop by, shake your hands, create that sort of help them visualize us meeting. And you're going to tell me all about what's most important to you, what's keeping you up at night, what your problems are, or what your goals are.
Right.
Then you're going to tell me what in an ideal world you want out of that. And if there's a fit between what I can do and what you need and us as well, that we click, then, I'm going to ask for you to make a booking. And a booking for me is you pay a deposit. Okay. And then fine. Okay, let's meet. It's not contentious. And then everything is expected. Now, there are some more follow-ups to do because quite often people don't close straight away. You might say, right, are we ready to go then? Yeah.
Right.
And now I think this is where people get more. But I wanted to cover those first bits because those first bits, they are literally straight away or as near as damn it. Yeah. And I don't think that I've said anything that could, theme to desperate. I mean, it's efficient. I think that gives vibes of efficiency. But if you haven't heard back, this is where we are really talking about. But don't let if they haven't called back affect anything that you've done previously. Yeah, because you'll convert a lot more business from doing that straight away or as near as damn it than you will do trying to convert something that you've been waiting to hear from. They ghosted you for 2 weeks. Those, once they ghosted you for 2 weeks, honestly, your probability of conversion is falling off a cliff.
Of course.
Yeah. Don't let whatever worries you have about how quickly you should follow up about those impact the straight away or as near as damn it for everything else. Because honestly, if you have that attitude that it's going to be straight away as near as damn it, you will close more. Yeah, not just quicker, you will close more. Because your conversion rates at those points are way higher. And I'm talking even within a day, 2 days, 3 days later, their probability of converting with you are swiftly going down. So after that, what do we do? So I will directly address that question of what happens afterwards. And there, as a rough rule of thumb, in business services, which is what you and I mainly talk about selling, not just, but as a rule of thumb, if you're not talking to somebody every other day, then it's probably not as likely to close as you imagine it could be. Yeah.
Right.
And what we're trying to elicit during these times is not, well, are we doing it or what? Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Have you decided yet? Decided it? It's not that. Yeah. What we're trying to do here is to elicit objections.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it that's holding you back? Have you got any particular concerns? You haven't bitten my arm off for this service. I'm assuming that something else is going on. Maybe you're talking to other suppliers, which is cool. Maybe you're talking to your partner. That's cool. Maybe you're having some time to think about it. That's also cool. Any objection is fine. Let me know what they are, and I might be able to share with you some of the experiences that my other clients had when they felt the same way as you did. Yeah.
Wow. So what we've learned today is that the quicker that you get
I just
back
got
to
a
them.
wow of Gareth Wax. Yes.
What?
I just got a wow of Gareth Wax.
Yeah, it's far and few between, I can tell you, listeners. What I say we'd learned from this is that David's passionate about you maintaining contact with these people throughout the length and breadth before you even. I mean, it's literally you've got to maintain contact every other day, and that if you're not able to do that, then the likelihood of it closing ends falling off a cliff. If you don't contact them, or if you don't get back to them with your follow-up rapidly, and according to David, that would be on the way home, or as you hit home, or maybe even at the latest the morning of the next day. If you don't get back to them rapidly, once again, the opportunity could well end up plummeting into the gorge. But all of these things are dependent on you being able to repeat back to them in that follow-up, pretty much word for word, what they said to you, because that will then cement in their minds that you actually were listening and that you understood what it is that they want, what their pain is, because then that puts you in the best place to be able to resolve it.
I want to add one other thing, if you don't mind, Gareth.
Go for it.
Which is that all of these methods and techniques become so much easier when you have two things. One is experience doing them. Yeah, so practice makes it way easier. And the other is a strong foundation, right? Which means things like a good-looking website, yeah, or a great-looking LinkedIn profile, yeah, a solid foundation. Not just because when people then have these conversations with you, they've got something that they can see that looks legit, that looks sound, that looks stable, that, you know, has got all of that, you know.
And also that very item should back up the claims that you're making in your
course, exactly. And I mean, I've learned a lot from you over the last 2 or 3 years that we've been doing this, and I would like to think that you know, the state of my LinkedIn profile has radically improved from the terrible state it was in when you and I first met. It's going to look like there's always room to improve. There's always room to improve. I think I need to put a slogan on my banner.
Yes, you do.
So that's the next thing on my list. But, you know, I do it bit by bit.
But no, the great thing is, in many ways, the most important thing you've got is in your headline. You're asking them a question that makes them think.
Yeah, I think that was a big moment when you sort of gave me that revelation as well. So if you have this foundation backing you up, it gives you the confidence to be able to follow that sales process, you know, efficiently, say what you mean, you know, ask them the direct questions, because you've got, you know, you're wearing your business suit when you have a good profile.
Yeah, excellent. Well, look, I hope that this has ignited the fires for some of you, or maybe even fanned the embers. Until next week, get your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please try and look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.